This is Marley K. Hope you all are well. Today, we are going to be talking about smart cities and how these covert organizations that we don't know anything about, which consist of unelected officials, create policies and laws and peddle them to local governments to take away your rights. And it is a part of this beast mode, or I should call it the beast infrastructure, the last infrastructure that this beast system is going to make to enslave everybody on the entire in the world, on on the globe. So what this particular organization that I'm going to talk about today, and it's called the Local Governments for Sustainability. And I don't know why the initials are, the acronym for this organization is ICLEI, because it has nothing to do with what the name of the organization is. It's really weird, but I'm sure something else that I'm just not getting. But the name of the organization is Local Governments for Sustainability. And I've been talking to you about sustainable development and what that means and what it's going to look like, and how it will impact us, especially Black people, because we tend to live, when we're outside of the South, in rural communities in lots of urban centers. And so if you're in an urban center, you're going to be impacted by this sustainable development. Now, granted, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But the point is that it is coming, and you need to be prepared for it. You need to understand what it looks like. You need to understand who's pushing it, and you need to fight back, as much as possible. Again, a lot of the stuff is prophesied, so it must come to pass. And, even if you fight and, it's not a successful fight, at least you understand what comes with these sustainable communities. So I want to talk about that today, in the Local Governments for Sustainability. So I'm going to give you this, and then I'm going to tie SMART into it, and this digitalization of our world, and how we're already in the throes of it, and a lot of us don't even know. So let's get into it. Local Governments for Sustainability is a global network of more than 2,500 local and regional governments committed to sustainable urban development. Active in 125 plus countries, we influence sustainable policy and drive local action for low emission, nature based, equitable, resilient, and circular development. So, did you hear that this organization says that we influence sustainability policy and drive local action? They're outright telling you this means these people craft the policy and send it back, or share it with your local governments and be like, this is the direction that we're going in. And then these people in your local governments and regional governments push these policies to your local city council, county council, your state legislators, your local municipalities, and craft policy and pass laws, regulations, set aside funding for these initiatives that you don't even know anything about. And so before I go forward, I want to just show you something. This organization is in Germany. And I could say so much, but if you understand your history, you understand these folks, them folks. And I'm going to just leave it at that. For us Black folks, ain't nothing good coming with any of this. And the fact that they focus on urban development, when here in America, urban has meant Black for so long. You think urban radio, urban music, urban communities, urban, urban, urban. Urban is code for Black. So if you do not understand what these people are saying, they're saying Black. And so their goal is going to be to change our communities that we're in now, run us out of them, or do whatever their real plans are, and then convert them to the smart ghettos for the yuppies and for the white people who will go there. So if you can't leave, you're gonna be stuck in a smart ghetto. And if you are there, you're gonna be subject to whatever these communities are going to finally be designed for. So the best thing to do is not be there. If you are in an urban center, an urban city, an urban area, you better be trying to get out of those areas, because those areas are not safe. They have plans for them. And I just want to share what that would look like. So this is already beginning in Europe and a lot of the in South America and a lot of other countries. We got a lot of people who are enemies. I hate to use that word, enemies, but people who just don't have our best interest at heart. And even though they may know the end role, they've already sold themselves, and they're resigned to working for this beast system. So we can't trust these people, and you can't rely on this world to protect you. You can't rely on it to feed you. You can't rely on it to comfort you, protect you. When trouble comes, they're just not going to do it. They're designing a system that is going to protect the rich and strip away the wealth of the middle class and make everybody paupers. They don't want you to own anything. They don't want you to have food. They don't want you to eat meat. They don't want you to breathe. They don't want you to have clean water. They don't want you to leave outside of your 15-minute city. And they're developing all these buildings and apartments or what have you in urban areas, so that you will basically be in prison. And so the design and the infrastructure is designed at a bigger level, on a higher level, with like WEF and the UN. But this organization is how they infiltrate your local communities with these laws, policies, and procedures. So they have a vision for sustainable cities, towns, and regions, and an urban world for all. So they want to make the world, one big sustainable development project. And no matter where you are, if you're rural, they're going to turn your rural community into a sustainable development project. If you're in an urban center, they're going to turn your project into your community into a sustainable development project. Like, they want the whole world to basically be ghettos. That's the nicest way to put it. Open air jails and ghettos. So let me read to you what this commitment is they talk about. The ICLEI Malmo Commitment and Strategic Vision is our pledge to make sustainable development the only model for development in the urban 21st century. Did you hear that? It's going to be the only model. They ain't telling you what they think. They're telling you the truth, and you're seeing it everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. You can search smart cities and you can see people in Europe protesting them. It's being rolled out everywhere. So, you can sit back and think that this is not coming to your community, but it is. And again, I'm not telling you this to be afraid. I'm telling you this so that you can keep watch and prepare and make plans for what's coming, because the day is coming. If you saw what happened during the Cootie Bug 19 event back in 2021, 2021, and 2022, how people were quarantined in China. They couldn't leave the house. They had to have these QR codes on their phone or these apps, and the phones would tell them, whether or not they could leave their house. Some whole buildings were quarantined because one person had the cootie, so people couldn't leave, and people, were stuck in the houses, didn't have enough food, and they had to wait on food to be delivered to them. And in the beginning, people were like, "Oh, they take good care of us. They give us all these healthy rations." And you saw the videos on TV of people delivering, what looked like healthy, whole food. And then later on, you start seeing commercials, or not commercials, I'm sorry, news stories where uh, they were throwing good food away, food that didn't have anything wrong with it. They were throwing it away because they wanted to give you what it was to feed the people who were quarantined, whatever it was that they wanted to feed them. Also, they couldn't go to the store when they wanted to. They were told initially, stock up on a bunch of stuff because you're going to be quarantined for a while, but they didn't really tell them how long they would be quarantined. So people, you just do what you usually do because you've been free up till now. You just go to the store, you get a few things, you come home, and you may think quarantine may last a week or whatever, but then weeks went by, and then months went by, and then people were starving, and people were jumping out of windows and committing suicide because they were in these high-rise apartment buildings stacked on top of each other all around. And, you can't get any sun, you can't get fresh air. The windows don't open because you're high. And so if you notice what's happening in cities all over the country, the same thing is happening here. They're building apartment buildings like nobody's business. Mixed development. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is, there's an apartment building coming up for you. And people don't realize that this is what is coming. They just think it's regular development, and they don't understand that the development, the sustainable development, you know, infrastructure is being laid now. So that is what you're seeing. That's why, you know, homes in suburban areas are not selling as well as they have, because jobs are not going to be there. People are going to have to commute more. They're getting ready to get rid of fossil fuels, so they're going to make it impossible for you to be able to survive outside of a urban center, whether you want to or not, unless you get out of the urban centers and go to try to do country living. And that too may still be a challenge because of circumstances with within your control, and because of circumstances beyond your control. But I'm going to be talking about this a whole lot because I don't think Black people are really paying attention to what is happening, and these words matter for us. When they say urban, they mean Black. They're developing the rest of the world. They're basically telling us that they want to make the whole world a ghetto, because historically here in America and in the West, that's what they have done. They put immigrants, brown people, and here in America, Black people, and other groups, Italians, the Juices, other people that they deemed not white and not really officially a part of society. They built up large apartment complexes, and they call them projects. And they've been experimenting with that crap since forever, since World War II, really. And they had ghettos in Warsaw. They have ghettos here. And as a matter of fact, America took the ghettos from Germany and implemented that project here. Well, they've been working on these projects for almost 100 years now. So I guess they figured they have perfected them. And so they're gonna make the world a ghetto. That's basically what they're saying. So anywho, our joint programs, projects, initiatives, research, capacity building, and advocacy in ICLEI drive worldwide action towards sustainability. Now, how? I don't know, but okay. At the ICLEI World Congress 2018 in Montreal, local and regional leaders across the Local Governments for Sustainability Network released the Commitment and Strategic Vision. 3 years later, at the virtual launch of the organization's World Congress 2021-2022, hosted by Malmo, Sweden. Notice all these plans take place in white nations to figure out how they're going to control the world. So they'll tell you that, they meet in all these, rich white countries and come up with these plans, and then they shift them off to local governments and regional governments and state governments to tell you this is how you're going to do it, including the global South, which is predominantly not white. So it's just very interesting how they always manage to do this, and we just kind of not really paid any attention. So the network refined and recommitted to this vision, and it's called the Local Governments for Sustainability Malmo Commitment and Strategic Vision 2021 through 2027. And I'm going to go back and click on that when we get done, but I'm going to show you all the plans that they have. And then I'm going to go close with this thing about this smart lighting, because this is the future. This is where the digitalization is coming from. The digitalization and the transition is like the final frontier. And once they get us in control, they can continue. They're going to continue to build up these cities and design them so that they're going to be places that you want to come. They're going to tell you everything is there, all the fun, all the restaurants, all nice housing, all the good jobs, the train, the bus. You don't need a car. We got bike lanes. All the people who like that kind of stuff are going to go flock to that. And they're already doing it. You look at DC, how DC has changed. You look at Detroit, you look at how Detroit has changed. You look at how New York is changing. Look at how Atlanta has changed. Austin, Texas, just a lot of different states, Seattle, a lot of places that, we thought, oh, they were socially conscious and green and climate aware, and trying to do things to save the environment was a farce. All right, 5 critical strategic and interlinked pathways serve as a compass to shape and manage our actions in a rigidly changing world and to transform our cities, towns, and regions. Notice they claim them our. How do you only have what belongs to you in your country? How is the whole world yours? Nobody ever asked these questions. How do you get to control the whole world? Like, they just say it and we just go along with it. You're like, wait a minute. I don't have a world leader. I live in America. So how is it that you get to shape policy for the whole entire world and I'm supposed to be happy about it? Nobody asked me what I wanted. We never ask those questions. We just go along with the agendas. And so we need to stop doing that and start thinking, about these plans, because it's basically global enslavement. You're like co-signing your own enslavement. Who does that? These 5 pathways: low emission development, nature-based development, circular development, resilient development, and equitable and people-centered development, serve as the basis of our sustainable urban development. Notice equitable and people-centered development is last. It's last for a reason. It's last because you are going to be considered last. You are considered last. They do not care about you. Our policy approaches drive global transformation and achieve sustainable development for all. By applying sustainable development principles within a local and regional context, the Local Governments for Sustainability Network effectively addresses and reverses detrimental practices, bridges divides, restores our relationship with the planet, and connects actors, sectors, and regions of the world. Just sounds so good, doesn't it? To support this commitment and strategic vision, We strengthen transformative, systemic, and innovative areas of sustainability. Undertake undertake necessary regulation, mitigate and manage social and environmental risk, and halt the many manifestations of unsustainable behavior in our jurisdictions. Now, they're going to stop your unsustainable behavior, but not the unsustainable behavior of the rich, not address the unsustainable behavior of these reckless, um, climate killing, earth killing corporations. Just us. And it is more of us than it is of them, yet we allow them to control us. So the fact that they even have the boldness to say that, to me, is an indictment on us as citizens, as global citizens, that we don't push back and they just feel like they can lie to us and we just take it. Sustainable development is the only way forward in today's world. We deliver visionary leadership and political support to accelerate action on sustainable development worldwide. So here they talk about they provide political support. No, they actually are politics. The people that you vote for are just the puppets. These are the real politicians right here. They're not elected. We don't get an opportunity to elect them. They're just rich people who sit in other countries and make decisions about our lives and then pass it on to the people that we are electing and who work for us allegedly. And those people do the work of these people. They don't work for us. We lead by example, share our knowledge openly, and speak with a united voice. That one. You're gonna hear this: united, one world. We create lasting mechanisms for change that make sustainability a permanent framework, informing all development decisions. This global imperative is vulnerable to political shifts at any moment, and we need durable forces to carry us forward. So they're basically saying we are the force field, we're going to be the wall, because we understand how important how important of a role politics plays in all of these things. Like, that's the whole reason we have politicians. They control our governments, they lead us, they are responsible for our well-being, or they should be. But these people understand that they are not, and they know the truth, so they're actually telling us what is happening. So I'm going to go back to this strategic vision 2021 through 2027. And it is going to be a PDF, and it'll be a couple of PDFs. Oh, so they don't even have it. You see this? Okay, I see, people. I see you. Let's see. Is it there? Okay, so this thing is 24 pages. It says the Montreal Commitment and Strategic Vision 2018 through 2024. So these people have been planning all this stuff. This is the beginning of the B system infrastructure. And the next phase is about to roll out. So they have to try to hurry up and wind down this 2023, 2024, which is why I'm telling you a lot of things are going to happen this year and next year that are going to be like drastic. And I'm talking about it because I don't want anybody to be caught off guard. It's one thing to know it's coming and you can kind of prepare a little bit, embrace and get your mind together. But when it happens suddenly, people are going to be losing their minds. It's going to be really chaotic. People who didn't prepare, people who didn't look, people who didn't read, who missed the signs, who were not watching. Those people are going to be caught off guard. Those people will be dangerous. And so in order for us to navigate this transition and these trying times, this collapse of this old world and this new world coming online, and trying to keep safe as all the things that are going on we just got to be aware, but knowing and watching is really important right now. Okay, so the contents. And again, you see, this place is in Germany. We don't have no business involved in this foolery. Okay, so the contents. We live in an urban century. Our Montreal commitment, building a sustainable urban world. Our vision, acting through 5 strategic pathways. Our policy approaches to drive global transformation. In the conclusion. So here, through 2018, from 2018 through 2024, the commitments are to scale up and expand sustainable cities and regions. And that is what is happening now. So with that infrastructure bill that came out in 2020, 2021, whenever President Papa got into office and he passed all these bills. So the federal government gave money here in America, and I'm just speaking in America. I can't speak for any other country, but I just want to talk to African Americans so I can explain what all these different things mean from a policy and a financial perspective. So when they talk about scaling up and expanding sustainable cities and regions, this is where that money came from, that infrastructure bill. And this is why I call it the beast infrastructure, because they that's what they call it. It is what it is. If you a child of the Most High, you understand what beast is. So I don't have to talk about that, but the infrastructure is being laid. All the Wi-Fi, all the tools, the little toys, the phones, the tablets, the free cell phones, all the broadband that's laid out, the smart meters that were taken, were placed in our homes. They took away the old meters, the electric meters, and put smart meters in. All these smart lights, all these cameras. We had the whole camera debate before, and it was found to be unconstitutional, but here they come right back with smart city cameras again. And people are just like not challenging it, like not paying attention. The predictive policing that I talked about the other day, the digitalization where, you need to have electronic health records. You need to have, QR codes for all sorts of things, just a whole lot of things, the self-checkout, everything to set up the infrastructure for the beast system that's coming online. Make sustainability fundamental, a part of a local and global development. Part of that is PSYOP. You have been bombarded with messaging about the climate, about everything, about low emissions. They've been slowly planting this stuff, even though we don't know what it means. We're talking about low emissions and CO2 in the environment, Green New Deal, green energy, recycling, reducing the carbon footprint, don't eat meat, eat more this. So we've been bombarded over the last, almost 10 years with these messages about the climate and doing things about the climate. And you notice that, more cities have bike lanes. The streets have gotten narrower because they made more lanes for bikes. Why you think they want you to ride bikes? Because they don't want you to drive a car. They made these trains. They're trying to do rail in these cities to run you back and forth through cities like they did in Charlotte. I know Charlotte has one. They have metros in a lot of other major cities, but they want to encourage people to take the public transportation and not use your own car because they believe that will cut down on emissions. It might cut down on emissions, but it also cuts down and removes your freedom and your ability to move, because if those things are not operating, you can't go anyplace. If they tell you can't get on it, then you can't get on it. So it's not like, with your car, if you have a car in your driveway, you can leave whenever you get ready. Low emission development. So that's again the campaign to start talking about it. And like, if you buy a ticket now to fly on an airplane, it'll tell you many what your carbon footprint was uh, from for the duration of that flight. So they've been doing news stories, and depending on what it is that you are involved in, your credit cards, either bank cards, so on and so forth, they talk about your carbon footprint. So there's this messaging that is going out. Pathways, circular development. We're going to talk about circular development, but I can't talk about it now because it's stupid and complicated. But just understand, there is the purpose of circular development is to get you in a state of mind where you're going to be in a 15-minute city. Everything is going to be in a circle. Everything is going to be in a block. Everything that you need will be in a little area, and it's going to be made like it's going to be a community. And then you see in all the symbols, the community is going to be in this. It's going to be circular. So that's the framing. That's PR, propaganda. Natural-based development. I'm sorry, nature-based development. So the nature-based development is like they want to have green spaces. That's why, a lot of cities, they talk about we need more green space. We need to have more trees. They want you to plant more trees. They want you to have more grass. That's why they want these dog parks. They don't want people parks because they want you to stay behind in your house. They want the dogs to have a park, and that encourages green space. Also, they want you to do community gardens in urban centers because they want you to grow your own food, because they're not going to be importing none in and out. So if you don't grow your own food, you're going to be starving to death. You're going to be eating Soylent Green. Policy. Our policy approach is to drive global transformation, sustainable governance and management. Sustainable development is a collective effort. So the policy approaches, here's where they have crafted this policy. But now over the last, since 2018, say, 5 years, they have been pushing these policies to local governments. And a lot of times it's coming from the federal government. So it'll come through an initiative, and then the government will say, we have money for this. And if you create a proposal for, doing a green space, or coming up with a recycling campaign, or buying buses or public transportation, which uses clean energy, we'll give you money for XXX thing. And it'll be for a 3-year or 5-year period or whatever. Sometimes it's a demonstration project, but they have tied money to these policies. And so a lot of cash strapped localities, local governments, municipalities, regional governments, state governments have taken this money and developed these plans. And they didn't really develop the plans. They always have a, what do they call it? Like an exchange or a clearinghouse. That's what they call it. They call it a clearinghouse. And they'll have a clearinghouse of things that you can choose from, models that you can choose from. And in order for you to get this money, you have to select one of those models. And then you take that model that comes with that money and you implement it in your community. Well, you are average person going to work every day, don't know what's happening. You don't know, how these things come about. You just happen to see it. You may read it in a newspaper. You may be driving by, a area or a bus or something, and you see, this is a part of the blah, blah, blah initiative, and it may have the government's logos, so on and so forth. But you don't know that those policies were crafted by people like these folks. And it's not what you think it is. So it's all tied to this infrastructure that is being laid in order for these smart cities to work. But they have to do it slowly and gradually. They have to introduce it to us slowly and gradually. One, because people don't pay attention. Two, people have short-term memories. And three, most importantly, people do not read. So all these things that are been happening for a long time. I know about them only because I work with money and I read public policy and these solicitations or notices for funding availability. So I understand what this money is going towards, and I understand a lot of people don't know. Okay, tackle the most pressing issues of our time to protect the long-term interest of citizens. Well, how do you do that when we are not at the table? And that's one thing that I uh, continue to press upon everybody is understand you're not at the table. You're urban, you live in an urban center, but you're not at the table when they come up with these policies. So they don't care about your interest. They just lie and they say this stuff on paper, but they don't care about your interest. Undertake a collective effort for global change across all sectors and levels of government. Resilient development. So you see this symbol here. It's part the internet symbol, and then it's part like a footprint. So they're telling you what the resiliency is going to be. Equitable and people-centered development. And this symbol, along with this underneath it, says it all. I won't say anything. It's just a lot of symbolism here. And I can't say anything about it on YT because I'm sure I would be censored. But anyway, we're going to talk about symbols. I'm going to have someone come on and talk to you about symbols really soon because I think it's really important. I will also include a link in the description about this particular thing that I'm talking about, if I can find it. But if not, I have a note to do a discussion on the symbolism of this infrastructure because there are a lot of things here that are symbolized that mean something in the occult world that we don't necessarily understand or know about because we just we've been kept in the dark. Innovation in science, sustainable development must work with all and for all. And so they want to tell us that science is going to work for us. And science hasn't worked all these years. They've been lying to us about science. You can eat this chemical. It's in your pants. It's in plastic, wrapping your food. It's in your Tupperware bowls. It's in everything. And now we can't get it out of our system. It's been known to cause cancer. And initially, science created it. They told us it was good, and now it's not good. Now we need to try to save the environment because science told us something was good, and then it turned out not to be good. Anything that counters nature is a problem. And so when they talk about believing in science, you should be running the other direction. Finance. Sustainable development needs innovative models of finance, and they're going to have money tied to this. And that's like I was telling you, a lot of these changes come because it's tied to money. A lot of these local governments, these little counties, the city and local governments, they don't know what this money is actually tied to. They just see money. They have a grant, right? I'm gonna write a grant. I'm gonna get this money. We're gonna do this thing that they said because we need a bus. We need to update our public transportation. We need money because we could upgrade our lights because we don't have the money to upgrade our lights. So we're gonna get rid of the old lights and use smart lights. And it's gonna be better and it's going to save us money. Everything about money is money is going to be a driver, let's just say that, for a lot of these projects. But a lot of people don't understand the end game. And so if maybe you can go to these meetings and counter what's happening, or you can just do a FOIA request and look and see what the county or city or local government is buying, and then understand they bought this. Then maybe you can ask, what are you using this for? Where's this stuff located? And at least what areas they are planning on developing and turning into smart cities, because this stuff is not, it's going in certain places. They're developing certain areas. But eventually all cities will have to follow suit. So they have their model cities, they have their, voluntary participants, but eventually everybody's going to have to participate or you're going to be persecuted. Whether it's through cutting of resources to the community or physical persecution, like picking you up and taking you someplace. It's going to be real hard to resist if only a few of us are resisting. We live in an urban century. You see the city? See the city? More than ever, our cities and surrounding regions are on the front line of a globally changing world and need to rapidly adapt to shifts in nearly every dimension of urban life. The impacts of increasing urbanization, demographic change, climate change, technological advancement, and development challenges, including public health crises, and the need to end systemic inequalities and poverty, are partially visible in our urban environments. So they're trying to say over the last couple of years, things have been a problem. But when you look and see, they've been creating the problems for us for quite some time for them to be problems. So we actually know the problems very well. And it's not the problems that they note on this paper. Many perceive our cities and surrounding regions as centers of opportunity and prosperity. And indeed, they are important hubs of economy, innovation, production, consumption, social, and cultural interaction. And these, because they know these things about cities, this is why they dress up all the stuff that they push to be in a smart city. That's why they sell it as, oh, it's going to be so wonderful. All this stuff is going to be right there. At the same time, numerous cities are places where deep poverty and inequity prevail, and where severe natural degradation proliferates with ecosystems pushed past their thresholds. As our cities rise, grow, and change, so do the demands on our finite natural resources, thus furthering reinforcing disparities in communities across the world. Therefore, the only way forward is to urgently reverse the trend and drastically reorient the patterns of our daily life, our built environment, and our natural systems in and around our cities. Over centuries, we have built urban environments, and today they accommodate half of humanity. For decades, we experimented, pioneered, and made efforts to create sustainable and neighboring regions. In many cases, we have been successful. Now we must accelerate and scale up these experiences to create an entire urban world that is sustainable. So I'm going to go back to this sentence here where it talked about we have built urban environments, and today they accommodate half of humanity. If you need to get rid of more than half of humanity, the easiest way to do it is through urban centers, because that's where the majority of people are. Now they're telling you what they know. And we know, those of us who understand what's coming, you understand that a lot of people in this world will not survive. Think about it. If you go to an urban center and you're stuck there, they don't feed you, you don't have clean water, if you're getting robbed and beat up and raped and killed and policed and taken off, you can't work because if your social credit score is bad, or if you're rebellious, or just for whatever reason, say your technology don't work. Those places could like literally be hell. And then they dictate when and where you go, the frequency with which you can go, what you can eat, so on and so forth. It's an easy place to get trapped and not fare well, which is why I encourage people to have an exit plan, an exit strategy for urban centers. They're not going to be well. And if they try to put one in your community, please reject that. Okay, so here, their commitment. So they're telling you here, when a group of forward-thinking cities founded this organization in 1990. So you see how long they have been working on this, since 1990. They took action before sustainable development was the predominant model for change. Today, this organization, we are mainstreaming sustainable development in all aspects and interacting with our shared urban future. So these people in Germany are crafting policy for everybody all over the world. Being part of the organizations nurtures our collective potential for creating change. Our organization, I'll just keep saying organization because it's just crazy to keep saying this name, especially because I don't know what these acronyms mean, and it irks me. The network of more than 1,500 members in network cities is widely recognized as a leading organization with visionary local leaders acting worldwide. We represent small, large, and often fast-growing cities, vast metropolitan areas, capitals, provinces, and regions. So they're telling you basically, we everywhere. We in these streets. We run these streets. Yet, we are deeply united in our commitment to inspire, learn from, and work with each other on our shared journeys toward a sustainable urban world. Notice there are no people, local people, just the group of people. They don't hardly tell you who these people are. So keep in mind that they never share who we are. With new UN sustainability frameworks in place towards 2030 and 2050. So you notice everywhere you see sustainable development is always tied to this Agenda 2030 and the United Nations. And you need to pay attention to that because, again, it's all tied into this one world government, this shifting order. And you may think, oh, it's not going to impact me. It's going to impact everybody, because if you don't understand how the UN works and WEF and WHO and all these other organizations, they're all connected, all funded by the old B system and all a part of the new infrastructure that's being laid, but in a different way, in a more powerful way. Each for which we advocated so intensely over the last decades. We can now, more than ever, shape the global sustainable development agenda in collaboration with nations, subnational governments, business, and civil society. Therefore, we commit to scale up and expand the model of sustainable cities and regions to create a sustainable urban world. We regard sustainable development not just as smart, notice the play of words, but as fundamental to life on earth. It is a right of all and not a privilege of a few. To shift the balance towards sustainable development in and among our jurisdictions and make sustainability a fundamental and inextricable part of all local and global development. So again, these people are crafting policy from Germany, and whether you want it or not, it is going to be a part of your local government. Sustainable development is all you're going to hear about, is all you're going to see. And when you see it and hear it, you know that your local government is on track to be a part of this agenda. And then you should plan accordingly. To tackle the most pressing issues of our time in more fundamental and systemic ways than ever before, and in doing so, take profound decisions in the long-term interests of our citizens. What does that even mean? They're going to take they're going to make profound decisions in the long-term interest of our citizens or of us. What about us? To undertake a collective effort for global change, pushing actors by all sectors and levels of government. The sum of our efforts, actions, and policies will be catalysts for the global change that humanity needs in this urban century. So I'm not going to go through all this, but you know, like here, nature-based development. We will apply nature-based solutions, use blue and green infrastructure options, and promote green zones to reconnect and engage with nature in our own new world. Um, Deploy strategies and plans that use the potential nature has to provide essential ecosystems ecosystem services and to unlock new economic opportunities in our jurisdiction. So this is where they keep talking about green jobs, green jobs, green jobs. They're going to lure everybody with money or the appearance of giving them the opportunity to earn money, to work towards, some common good and something that's good. But still, we don't really understand the big picture. Is you might think you're just making a battery, but you're making a battery for a car that's going to be able to cut off and leave somebody someplace or not start up when they want to flip the switch and say you can't go someplace like on Sunday, or I'm sorry, on any other day if you're trying to do something on the day of rest, their day of rest, then you won't be able to go and do that thing. Circular development. This is what I talk about. We will support new local economies that are productive and not extractive, where resources are exchanged and not wasted. We will prioritize sustainable waste management options, including prevention, reuse, and recycling of waste. This is going to be Soil and Green. I'm just kidding. I don't know that for sure, but I'm just making jokes right now. But when they say that, that's what pops in my mind. We will decouple urban economic development from resource consumption and and environmental degradation, and factor environmental and social costs in the price of goods and services. So do you see this? So if you offer a good or a service, they're going to basically control the price of it. So if you offer, say, if you have a restaurant and your restaurant, your business pays your employees different salaries and you pay waitress salary, well, they're going to eliminate that. We will encourage equitable access to resources and created closed loop urban and peri-urban systems to end linear economic activity. And so that's it's just flowery language. They don't really tell you nothing, but they're doing this by the, I won't say by the seat of their pants, but they're doing it in secret. And you're starting to see it now. Just like and I'll give you an example how the fast food workers wanted, $15 an hour jobs or $20 an hour jobs. So sometimes it might be more than that, depending on, where people are and the cost of living. And so with that, it forced small employers, in some areas, if the laws changed, mostly in blue states, where people had to change the minimum wage to keep up with fast food workers. And so then a lot of businesses couldn't afford to hire more people because they had to pay the people that were working more. And then they had to change their roles and responsibilities to get more out of them. So it like backfired. And so all of this is just going to be the same, more of the same. We will work with the business sector and from early market engagement to the delivery of solutions that support local sustainability goals and that meet the needs of all citizens. We will use our procurement power to green our economy. So they're going to use their ability to purchase as weight, because local governments or any government has more money than, say, me or you on an individual basis. Now, as community collectively, if we would all get on one accord and be like, okay, we're not going to buy Nikes, we're not going to buy, Domino's sugar, we're not going to buy whatever, we're going to stay at home and just let our lights get turned off and not, we're going to pay our last bill and then turn the lights off. We're going to just do whatever we got to do and protest. If we would do that, then we collectively would have more power. But because we don't use our power in those ways, and everybody here is individualistic and selfish, the governments are basically telling you that they're going to use their buying power to green their economy. So they're going to only buy from green companies. So if your company doesn't offer anything green, they can't do business with you. That means that's money that you're missing out on. And who has more money than anybody except for, governments and very, very rich people? So there's a threat right there. And again, there are just all sorts of things that are in here. So let's go to the digital piece, because here I want to talk about the digitalization. I've been talking to you about this, and this is the probably one of the last things that I'll do for this particular video, because I have another one that I want to do about these people as well. Innovation in science, sustainable development must work with and for all. We will use digital technologies as a tool for inclusion and safeguard sustainability-driven digitalization. Our connected technological world creates many new challenges and risks for sustainable cities, including data security risk, increased infrastructure vulnerability, and large resource use. At the same time, technology provides new tools for community engagement, data collection, and co-creation of solutions. We will promote conscious sustainability-driven use of these tools to promote citizen-driven action, crowdsourced ideas, and co-designed solutions, bridging all forms of the social divide. How they're going to do that, I don't know. We will use these open processes to empower communities and to enable citizens to drive digitalization transparently. So they're going to use you to push digitalization, and they're going to use it by tricking you. Use this app to learn more. Download this app. Scan this QR code. If you do this, use your card instead of using money. They did that a lot during the Cootie Bug 19 event. They took all, we don't want to touch money. Use your card. And people did it. Didn't make no sense, but people did it. You can take my money, but you can't. You can take my card, but you can't take my money. So it's going to be easy to hoodwink us because we love our technology. We are lazy now, and we have become accustomed to the comforts and ease of using technology. And here, when they talk about promoting evidence-driven and science-based policy and action at all levels of government. So they're going to promote it. They don't really tell you how they're going to do any of these things. They just say, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. The other thing that I find really interesting is that, again, they do not tell you who is a part of nothing. So here, they got an office in Denver, Colorado, the only office in America, Mexico, Colombia, on every continent, South America, in Canada, they have 2 offices, in Cape Town, South Africa. Interesting. But notice, they are in places where it's very Western. I'll just say that. That's the nice way to say it. Australia, Indonesia, Belgium, Germany, Japan, South Korea, Chinese Taipei. So as you can see, where these offices are located are also where they have started implementing these smart cities. And you don't really hear anything about them because people are just like not talking about it a lot, but it's going as planned. Because once they unveil what it is that they really want to do, they people push back. But by that time, you've allowed the infrastructure to be laid, and so it's kind of late to push back. So I want to come to the members page because I wanted to show you all the members. So here, welcome new members. Village of Bronxville, New York, on the United States. City of Gunnison, Colorado. Sarasota, Florida. You know, places that you would never even imagine would join something like this, but they're joining like it's nothing. So let me see. The global, I want to see who is a member in North America. Oh, they're giving us the regional offices. I don't want to know who's. Okay. Sort by. Okay, so we have 356 members in America. And I guess they have it broken up by regions. So here, you know, you can see Pleasantville, New York, Park Forest, Village of Tequesta, Florida. Tuxedo Park, New York. A lot of Apex, North Carolina. Oh my gosh. Town of Washington Grove, Maryland. Berwyn Heights, Maryland. Sacramento County, California. Windsor, Santa Clara. Boone, North Carolina. Like there's nothing in Boone. Like why would these places participate in this? I have no idea. But I mean, it just goes to show you there's not going to be a safe place really for anybody to go because these governments are joining this for whatever reason, you know, with ease, and nobody's really talking about it. Lexington, Maine. Apex, North Carolina. Sedona, Arizona. Rockville, Maryland. Oh my goodness. That's where all the government stuff is. St. Petersburg, Florida. Spartanburg, South Carolina. Oh. Spokane, Washington, Wilmington, North Carolina, San Antonio, Texas, Wilton Manors, Florida, Winter Park, Florida, Stockton, California, San Jose. You know, and I'm really surprised that, you know, some of these places on here because, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a red state or blue state, a red city or blue city, like people are just signing up for these sustainable development opportunities. Why? You know, you have to ask. And, you know, I'm not sure if You know, it says 356. So this is just one area. And I guess they only need one place in a state. And then that one area can work on convincing or being a model and convince other states to join, or I'm sorry, other local governments to join. Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, Tennessee. Rochester, New York. Savannah, Georgia. Greenville, South Carolina. Hollandale Beach, Florida. City of New York. Newark, California. Knoxville, Tennessee. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Oh. North Miami, Florida. Miami Beach. North Miami. Oh boy. There's a lot of Black people live in North Miami. Fort Collins, Colorado. And a lot of these names are on here duplicated, which is a little weird. Miami. Gaithersburg, Maryland. City of Jersey City. City of Coral Springs. There are a lot of well-to-do communities on this list, which is really interesting to me that they call those urban cities, or they're trying to urbanize them where they're not really urban. Asheville. It's interesting. Charleston, South Carolina. Decatur, Georgia. Deerfield Beach. Aspen, Colorado. Atlanta, Georgia. Birmingham, Alabama, some of the blackest places in the South. Broward County, Florida, one of the blackest, most diverse counties in the state of Florida. Cincinnati, Ohio. College Park, Maryland. Charleston County, South Carolina. Baltimore, Maryland. Should have known. Columbia, South Carolina. Yeah, so, you know, you can join this, I guess. You know, I don't know what is the criteria. Let's go look and see. But anywho, I'm not going to hold y'all with the criteria for joining this mess. I just basically wanted to demonstrate how a lot of cities have already signed on to this, how this body in Germany is influencing governance for sustainable development all over the world. And there are people that we didn't elect. And, you know, you need to hold your local officials accountable and ask them, you know, why are you taking these, you know, positions on these policies? You didn't ask us how were they crafted. Like, you need to really start asking questions and paying attention to what is being implemented in your community and what policies are being pushed, because a lot of these things that are being pushed are not coming from your local representatives. They are coming from people in other countries with different agendas. So with that said, please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my Rumble and my Odyssey channels in the event that this channel is taken down. I suspect after a while we will be taken down because everybody is getting hip to these smart cities. And, you really need to pay attention to what is happening, because these things are, you saw the plan. They go from, 2021 to 2027. This plan was from 2018 to 2024. They are laying the infrastructure as we speak. Every day, things are happening. Money is being moved. Things are being planted and positioned, and they are ready to flip the switch. So we're going to have a weird period between 2024, 2025 through 2027. I don't know what's going to happen because I'm not a psychic, and I just don't know. I am giving you just some information and explaining to you the language and the pathway in which this new final system is being built. And so if you are aware from the natural perspective of what's going on and how that looks, you consider yourself blessed by the Holy Spirit, because I just happen to be in a position where I can talk about these things and share, my years of experience, how these things work. They have to use, man's law in order to get this stuff done. They're going to use the legal systems and laws and policies, and people who are not, like us. They're just not like us. And so we have to understand that people are being used in this hour to implement this beast structure, infrastructure, and you need to be knowledgeable about what is happening, because it's happening at the local level. There's not going to be no big federal thing that, you think is going to come out, because states' rights trump federal government's rights a lot of times. And so they have to infiltrate the local governments to get these smart cities and this sustainable development agenda in action. And that is what has been happening. So I just wanted to share with you what it looks like, what it sounds like, the words that they use show you that this stuff has been in plans for a long time. And we're just, finding out about it. But as I find out, I'm going to tell y'all. So with that said, again, please like the video, share it, because the algorithms do not share our stuff. When we talk about this, I don't have a whole lot of followers, and I lose about 2 or 3 followers every week because, they play with the algorithms. They hide these types of videos. I have a bunch of views, but no likes. And so, if you don't like these videos, they don't go out. They just kind of stay someplace, and my numbers kind of stay in the same area. And this is information that people need to know, especially Black people. I know Black people don't necessarily care about this type of stuff, but they're going to care when the Gestapo come and grab them out of the house, and they got to download these codes and can't move, outside of their community, and they got to eat soil and green. Just a hypothetical there, but I know it's a little dramatic. That's what I do. But I want to implore you to please continue to prepare, keep watch, don't be fearful, stay prayed up, stay in touch with the Most High, because things about to get rough. All right, y'all, I'm out.